The memorial chamber aboard Station Meridian floated in the void between three solar systems, its crystal walls reflecting the distant light of dying stars. Inside, white chrysanthemums drifted in zero gravity around a small holographic projection of 8-year-old Nira Valdris, her bright smile frozen in time as she played with a mechanical butterfly toy. Ambassador Joran Valdris stood motionless before his daughter's image, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. The formal black uniform of the diplomatic corps felt heavier than usual, each medal and ribbon a reminder of the peace he had spent decades building between Earth and the Galactic Council. Peace that had cost him everything. The investigation is complete, Ambassador. Counselor Brektar's voice rumbled through the chamber's speakers. The reptilian alien's three-eyed visage appeared on the central display, his scaled features arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as sympathy. Engine malfunction, a tragic accident during the approach to Kepler Station. The manufacturing company has already issued formal apologies and compensation. Joran's jaw tightened. My daughter was excited about seeing the crystal gardens on Kepler Prime. She had packed her collection of Earth butterflies to show the children there. His voice remained steady, diplomatic training overriding the storm raging inside him. She was going to help me present the new trade agreements. Children are precious to all species, Ambassador. The Council mourns with Earth. But Joran's wife, Tessa Valdris, stepped forward from the shadows where she had been watching. Her once soft features had hardened over the past week, her scientist's mind refusing to accept convenient explanations. The debris pattern doesn't match an engine explosion, Counselor. I've run the simulations 17 times. Brektar's middle eye blinked slowly. Mrs. Valdris, grief can cloud judgment. Sometimes we see patterns where none exist. I'm a quantum physicist, not a grieving mother clutching at shadows. Tessa's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. The shuttle was destroyed by external charges, precisely placed to mimic engine failure. Someone wanted my daughter dead. The hologram of little Nira flickered, her recorded laughter echoing softly as she chased the mechanical butterfly through their old apartment on Earth. The sound made Joran's hands shake, but he forced himself to remain still. He had learned long ago that in diplomatic circles, showing weakness was tantamount to surrender. The matter is closed, Brektar announced. Earth has accepted the findings. Ambassador, you have my personal condolences, but continuing this investigation would damage the delicate peace we've built. The transmission ended, leaving the family alone with their daughter's ghost. Captain Dex Morrison of Earth Command Intelligence waited exactly 3 minutes before entering the chamber. His scarred face bore the marks of conflicts most civilians never knew existed. Wars fought in the darkness between stars where Earth's survival had hung by threads thinner than hope. Ambassador, Mrs. Valdris. Morrison's gravelly voice carried respect, tinged with something harder. I need to show you something, but first I need your word that what I'm about to reveal never leaves this room. Tessa wiped tears from her eyes, but her gaze remained sharp. Show us. Morrison activated a portable holographic display showing the wreckage of their daughter's shuttle in devastating detail. Your daughter's personal belongings were recovered intact from the rear compartment, including this. He highlighted a small pendant shaped like a cartoon cat, its crooked smile eerily similar to Nira's own mischievous grin. That's her favorite necklace, Joran whispered. She never took it off. The pendant contains a micro-storage device, quantum, encrypted with patterns only Earth technology could decode. Your daughter accidentally recorded something she shouldn't have seen. Morrison's expression darkened. 3 days before her death, she was playing in the station's maintenance tunnels. Her pendant's passive sensors picked up a conversation between Counselor Brektar and a known arms dealer named Vexhai. The recording began to play. Nira's giggling voice could be heard in the background as she played with her butterfly toy, but underneath, alien voices spoke in harsh whispers. The Earth ambassador is getting too close to the truth about Colony 7. Brektar's distinctive voice hissed. The humans cannot learn what we've been harvesting there. Then eliminate the problem, came Vexhai's mechanical reply. Make it look like an accident. Pirates, perhaps. No, too obvious. Engine failure during routine transport. The daughter accompanies him everywhere. If she dies, he'll be too devastated to continue his investigation. The recording ended in silence, broken only by the sound of Tessa's sharp intake of breath. Colony. 7, she repeated. That's where the missing research teams disappeared. Joran, you've been investigating those disappearances for months. Morrison nodded grimly. 17 Earth science teams vanished without a trace. The Council claimed they were lost to natural disasters, equipment failures, hostile wildlife, but Ambassador Valdris kept pushing for answers. Joran felt something cold and ancient stirring in his chest. For 30 years, he had been Earth's voice of peace, the man who chose words over weapons, diplomacy over destruction. He had believed that civilization could triumph over the brutal mathematics of survival. His daughter had died because of that belief. What happens now? Tessa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Morrison's smile held no warmth. Now? Now Earth remembers what it was before it became civilized. He activated another display, showing classified files marked with warnings in red letters. There are protocols, Mrs. Valdris, contingencies we hoped never to use. Your daughter's death has triggered something that's been sleeping for decades. What kind of protocols? Joran demanded. The kind that involve waking up people who were never supposed to see daylight again. Morrison's fingers danced across his display, accessing files buried so deep in Earth's archives that most governments had forgotten they existed. Tell me, Ambassador, have you ever heard of the Phantom Division? Both Joran and Tessa shook their heads. Good. That means the classification held. Morrison's expression grew distant, remembering battles fought in the shadows of human history. During the resource wars before First Contact, Earth created soldiers who weren't quite human anymore. Enhanced reflexes, accelerated healing, neural conditioning that removed fear and doubt. They were our answer to impossible odds. Super soldiers, Tessa breathed. But that's just science fiction. Nothing fictional about the body count they left behind. When the wars ended, they were too dangerous to integrate back into society, too valuable to simply execute. So we froze them, stored them in facilities that officially don't exist, with activation codes known only to the highest levels of Earth Command. Morrison's display showed a cryogenic facility buried beneath the Antarctic ice, its location unmarked on any map. Inside, rows of suspension pods stretched into darkness, each containing a figure in military fatigues, their faces peaceful in artificial sleep. One of them volunteered for a special program, neural conditioning beyond anything we'd attempted before. He agreed to have his emotional responses modified, his personal memories suppressed, leaving only the mission parameters. He became the perfect weapon, activated only when Earth itself was threatened. And now? Joran asked, though he already knew the answer. Now Corvin Reeves wakes up. They called him the Phantom, because his enemies rarely lived long enough to report his presence. He's been sleeping for 43 years, dreaming of the daughter he lost during the Mars Rebellion. When he wakes up, he'll learn that another child of Earth has been murdered by alien hands. Morrison closed the files and looked directly at Ambassador Valdris. The diplomatic solution failed, sir. Your daughter is dead, and the people responsible think they can hide behind Council immunity. Earth has decided to remind the galaxy why humans spent 10,000 years killing each other before we learned to kill others. Tessa grabbed her husband's arm. Joran, this isn't what Nira would have wanted. She believed in peace, in building bridges between species. She was 8 years old, Joran replied, his diplomatic mask finally cracking to reveal the grief and rage beneath. She believed in fairy tales and happy endings, but she's dead, and her murderers are already planning their next atrocity. Morrison began preparing to leave. The Phantom will be active within 72 hours. He won't contact you, won't ask for permission, won't file reports. He'll simply hunt until every person involved in your daughter's death is eliminated. After that, he'll return to his pod and sleep until Earth needs him again. What about the peace treaties, the trade agreements, everything we've built? Joran asked. Some things are more important than peace, Ambassador. Some lines once crossed require an answer written in blood. Morrison paused at the chamber's exit. Your daughter's death was supposed to end Earth's investigation into Colony 7. Instead, it's just begun a very different kind of investigation. As Morrison left, the memorial chamber fell silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. The hologram of Nira continued to play, her laughter echoing through the emptiness as she chased her mechanical butterfly in an endless loop. Tessa pressed her face against her husband's shoulder. "I'm scared, Joran. What have we unleashed?" Joran stared at his daughter's image, watching her spin and dance in zero gravity, forever frozen in a moment of pure joy that would never come again. "Justice," he whispered. "We've unleashed justice." Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, warning lights began to flash as cryogenic systems initiated their wake-up protocols. In Pod 7, Corvin Reeves's vital signs spiked as decades of artificial sleep began to fade. His last conscious memory had been of holding his own daughter's body after the Mars Rebellion, promising her that no other child would suffer as she had. Now, as consciousness returned and mission parameters downloaded into his enhanced neural pathways, that promise would finally be kept. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's children were never to be harmed. The hunt was about to begin. The cryogenic pod hissed open like a mechanical sigh, releasing 43 years of artificial winter into the sterile air of Bunker Omega-7. Corvin Reeves's eyes snapped open, pupils dilating as enhanced optics adjusted to the harsh fluorescent lighting. His body remained perfectly still for exactly 30 seconds while internal diagnostics ran their checks. Heartbeat steady, reflexes optimal, neural pathways firing with deadly precision. General Yuki Tanaka stood at a safe distance, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched humanity's most dangerous weapon return to consciousness. She had been a lieutenant during the Mars Rebellion, had seen the aftermath of Corvin's work firsthand. Mountains of enemy corpses, arranged with surgical precision, their weapons destroyed, their command structures decapitated with the efficiency of a scalpel cutting through infected tissue. "Phantom 77 Alpha, respond," she commanded, using the activation protocol burned into his enhanced memory decades ago. Corvin sat up slowly, his movements fluid despite the long sleep. His body showed no signs of age. The cryogenic process had frozen him at 35, his face lean and sharp, dark hair touched with premature silver from neural conditioning procedures. Only his eyes betrayed the weight of what he had endured, pale gray orbs that seemed to look through reality itself. Mission parameters downloading. His voice came out rough, unused. Target, unknown. Location, unknown. Threat assessment, code, black. His head tilted slightly as data streamed directly into his consciousness. Child casualty confirmed. Earth citizen. Age 8. Name. His expression flickered, the first sign of emotion breaking through the conditioning. Nira Valdris. General. Tanaka nodded. The daughter of Ambassador Joran Valdris, killed by Galactic Council operatives to prevent him from investigating missing Earth colonies. They made it look like an accident. Corvin's hands clenched into fists, enhanced muscles coiling like steel. Cables. Acceptable losses in diplomatic negotiations? Negative. Classified as assassination of Earth citizen by hostile alien forces. All diplomatic solutions have been exhausted. Tanaka stepped closer, her voice carrying the weight of command. Rules of engagement. No prisoners. No witnesses. No evidence linking actions to Earth Command. You are authorized to use any means necessary. The enhancement protocols that had turned Corvin into something beyond human had also stripped away his capacity for doubt, fear, and mercy. But they had left his protective instincts intact, amplified them until the death of any Earthchild became a personal affront requiring immediate and overwhelming response. Time limit? He asked, already standing and moving toward the equipment. Lockers, none. Hunt until the debt is paid. Corvin began suiting up in armor that looked deceptively simple. Black composite materials that bent light around them, making him a shadow even in broad daylight. Weapons followed. Plasma blades that could cut through starship hulls. projectile weapons using rounds that could penetrate alien combat armor, and devices whose purposes were classified even from most Earth Command personnel. Transportation? Stealth ship Nightfall equipped with quantum drives and cloaking technology. Your pilot is Captain Zara Okafor. She volunteered for the assignment. Captain Okafor stepped forward from the shadows where she had been waiting. A compact woman with cybernetic implants covering half her skull. She had lost her family during the Colony 7 incident. Her smile held the same cold promise as Corvin's eyes. Ready to paint the void red, Phantom? Corvin studied her for a moment, his enhanced senses reading everything from her heartbeat to the micro-expressions on her face. Acceptable, he decided. Mission timeline? General Tanaka activated a holographic display showing the Galactic Council's current positions. Councillor Brektar is attending a trade summit on Zarian Prime. Heavy security, but nothing you haven't handled before. The arms dealer Vexhai operates from a mobile fortress in the Kappa sector. And there's a third target, Warden Zethok of Detention Complex Argos. The Warden's connection? He's been running illegal experiments on captured Earth colonists. Psychological torture, biological modification, genetic harvesting. Nira's father was getting too close to exposing the operation. Something shifted, in Corvin's expression, a flicker of the man he had been before the conditioning. Children involved in the experiments? Confirmed. 17 families, including 43 minors. The temperature in the bunker seemed to drop several degrees. When Corvin spoke again, his voice carried the promise of extinction. Mission accepted. Estimated completion time, 7 days. 7 days to eliminate 3 heavily defended targets. Across multiple star systems? General Tanaka raised an eyebrow. 7 days to eliminate everyone involved. Targets, guards, enablers, witnesses, and anyone who gave them orders. Corvin sealed his helmet, the faceplate reflecting the room like a dark mirror. Earth's children are not livestock for alien experimentation. Captain Okafor grinned, revealing teeth filed to sharp points. A modification from her pirate hunting days. I like him already. Ship's ready for departure, General. As they prepared to leave, General Tanaka placed a hand on Corvin's armored shoulder. The galaxy doesn't know what's coming. They think humans are soft, diplomatic, willing to accept losses for the greater good. They're about to learn otherwise. Corvin's helmet display lit up with tactical information as they walked toward the hidden launch bay. The greater good died with the first Earthchild. Now there's only the hunt. The Nightfall launched in absolute silence, its quantum drives bending space around the ship as it disappeared into the void between stars. Inside the cockpit, Captain Okafor plotted their course while Corvin reviewed intelligence files on their first target. Zarian Prime in 6 hours, she reported. Councillor Brektar will be attending a formal dinner with 200 guests, including major trade representatives from 17 species. Security includes personal shields, armed guards, and orbital defense platforms. Acceptable challenge. Level, Corvin replied, studying architectural plans of the summit complex. Approach vector? I can get us past the orbital platforms using false registry codes. After that, you're on your own until extraction. Corvin nodded, already visualizing the mission. His enhanced mind ran through dozens of scenarios, calculating kill probabilities, escape routes, and collateral damage parameters. The conditioning allowed him to view the upcoming slaughter with the same emotional detachment most people reserved for solving mathematical equations. Captain, question. Go ahead. Do you have family remaining on Earth? Okafor's hands tightened on the controls. Had a daughter. She was part of the Colony 7 research team. Found her body in what they called a biological compatibility study. She was 22, wanted to be a xenobiologist, thought she could help bridge the gap between species. Unacceptable losses. That's what I thought too. That's why I volunteered for this mission. She turned to look at him, her cybernetic eye glowing softly in the cockpit's dim lighting. I want to watch them die, Phantom. I want them to know. Why? They will know. In their final moments, they will understand exactly what they have cost Earth. The hours passed in tactical silence as the Nightfall approached Zarian Prime, its cloaking systems rendering it invisible to the planet's sophisticated sensor networks. In the cargo hold, Corvin performed final equipment checks with mechanical precision. Each weapon and device tested and secured. His enhanced hearing picked up a transmission from Earth. Ambassador Valdris speaking to his wife in their quarters, aboard Station Meridian. I keep thinking about her laugh, Joran's voice carried across the void. How she would spin in the zero-gravity gardens chasing those mechanical butterflies. She was so excited about showing them to the alien children. Thought it would help them understand Earth culture. She believed in building bridges, Tessa replied softly. In finding common ground between species. And they killed her for it. Not as collateral damage, not as an unfortunate casualty of politics. They specifically targeted our 8-year-old daughter because her father asked too many questions. Corvin's conditioning prevented him from feeling grief, but it couldn't stop him from understanding the mathematical elegance of justice. One Earth child murdered equaled X number of alien deaths, where X approached infinity until the balance was restored. Approaching target, Captain Okafor announced. Zerion Prime orbital defense grid in sight, beginning infiltration sequence. The planet below them was a jewel of civilization, its cities gleaming like scattered diamonds across continents of carefully maintained wilderness. The summit complex sat on a floating island above the capital, accessible only by heavily monitored transport pods. Drop zone confirmed. You'll have 40 minutes before their security realizes something's wrong. Corvin sealed his armor's life support systems and moved to the airlock. Understood. Begin extraction countdown at 35 minutes. What if you're not back? For the first time since awakening, Corvin almost smiled. I will be back. The mission requires all targets eliminated, not just one. The airlock opened and Earth's angel of death fell toward the gleaming city below, invisible against the star-filled sky. His armor systems calculated trajectory, wind resistance, and landing coordinates while his enhanced mind focused on the simple mathematics of vengeance. Counselor Brektar was finishing his speech about interspecies cooperation when the lights went out. Emergency illumination cast eerie shadows across the banquet hall as 200 of the galaxy's most powerful beings looked around in confusion. Technical difficulties, Brektar announced, his 3 eyes scanning the darkness. Security will resolve this momentarily. But security was already dead, their bodies arranged in precise formations throughout the complex, throats cut with surgical precision. Corvin moved through the building like a whisper of death, his enhanced senses tracking every heartbeat, every breath, every whispered word of panic. The first scream came from the kitchen staff, then the guards in the outer corridors. One by one, the sounds of civilization died until only silence remained. Brektar's personal shields flickered to life as his bodyguards formed a protective circle around him. Show yourself, assassin. Earth's reputation for diplomacy dies with you. Earth's reputation was buried with an 8-year-old girl. Corvin's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. You killed a child to hide your crimes. Now you face the consequences. The lights came back on, revealing a scene from a nightmare. Every alien in the banquet hall sat exactly where they had been, but their eyes stared at nothing, their throats opened with mathematical precision. Only Brektar and his 6 bodyguards remained alive, standing in a circle of perfectly arranged corpses. Impossible, one of the guards whispered. 200 beings dead in 5 minutes? Not impossible. Corvin materialized from the shadows, his armor reflecting the emergency lights like liquid darkness. Simply necessary. The battle lasted exactly 97 seconds. When it ended, Brektar knelt alone among his fallen protectors, green blood pooling around his knees. The galaxy will unite against Earth for this atrocity, he gasped. The galaxy will learn that Earth's children are not acceptable casualties. Corvin's blade found its mark with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. Tell your gods that Nira, Valdris sends her regards. 28 minutes after insertion, Corvin stood in the extraction zone as the Nightfall's airlock opened to receive him. Not a drop of alien blood stained his armor. The enhancement protocols included an obsessive attention to cleanliness that left no forensic evidence behind. Target 1 eliminated, he reported as Captain Okafor engaged the quantum drives. Next, destination, Kappa sector. How many? She asked. All of them. As the nightfall disappeared into hyperspace, emergency broadcasts began flooding galactic communication networks. The Xerion Prime incident was being reported as a terrorist attack by unknown forces, with no survivors to provide witness testimony. But deep in the classified channels used by intelligence services across the galaxy, a different message spread like wildfire. Earth had awakened something ancient and terrible, something that moved through the darkness, leaving only silence in its wake. The hunt had begun, and the galaxy's most comfortable predators were about to learn what it felt like to be prey. His cryogenic dreams, Corvin had held his daughter's body and promised that no other child would suffer as she had. Now, 43 years later, that promise was being kept with compound interest. The ghost of Earth's violent past had returned, and it would not rest until every debt was paid in full.